Good morning. We are Daniel, Maria Gracia, and Ritika, and we are the strategy unit for Medtronic. Today we will present the strategy for the company going forward up to 2025, and we will start by providing analysis on the current circumstances in the market. We will present our three main strategies going forward and provide general conclusions. With that, I leave you with Maria Gracia.
Firms in the medical devices industry design, manufacture, and market healthcare devices. It is a part of the greater healthcare industry and is horizontally adjacent to the pharmaceutical industry. From the value chain, a critical aspect of manufacturers' internal operations is its investment in research and development to design and improve their products. In recent years, research and development has significantly staggered in the medical devices industry, and large companies face the challenge of competing with technology companies like Google, Verizon, and Apple. Also, consumers now demand more financial, convenient, less invasive, and holistic technologies. Moving down the value chain, it is evident that manufacturers target physicians. However, this is starting to change, giving industry consolidation and huge purchasing groups, which are gaining strength in terms of the device purchasing decision. Overall, the medtech industry rate has decreased dramatically in recent years, and it is expected to grow at 4% from 2011 to 2018.
Now let's take a look at the competition analysis for our company. First of all, we've identified three main competitive groups for the medtech industry. First, there's what we call big medtech, so that's companies much like Medtronic, which span across a range of levels of specialization. Then there's startups that are fueling the innovation inside the industry, and finally, tech giants such as Google and Apple that are entering the industry from outside of it. What the trends that we've been seeing so far have been, one, many of the big medtech firms have been acquiring the startups across all its levels of specialization, and using that innovation power, they've tried to leverage the information that they gain from startups to become more innovative and move higher in this graph in terms of innovation. One special case is Johnson & Johnson, which is currently not very specialized, but it is trying to move further into its investment in medtech and become more specialized in its medtech operations. Then we also have a threat from tech giants that are moving kind of to the right on this graph because they're entering the market. They are currently not at all specialized in medtech, but they are interested in entering the market. So as you can see in the graph, everyone is converging into the same strategic position. So going forward, Medtronic must know that there will be many competitors that will have a similar strategy to what it's going to do going forward. So it must have differentiation in both its strategy and its innovation.
Medtronic primarily serves three customer segments. The first is hospitals, clinics, and third-party healthcare organizations. The second is distributors, group purchasing organizations, and the third is other organizations such as government healthcare programs. The main takeaway about these three customer segments is that they are more alike than not. They are large, powerful organizations with a great deal of purchasing power and have the ability to exert significant downward pressure on prices.
Let's take a quick look at our current situation. So first, what are our current challenges? First of all, there's the industry and company stagnant growth that we've been talking about. Medtronic has been a victim of the same stagnation that the whole industry is facing. Similar story for R&D. Then there's the consolidation of providers that Maria Gracia mentioned, and competition from outsiders. All these phenomena we've seen so far. Our current goal has largely been to recover from a massive crisis that we had in 2011, where we only had 1% growth. And our main strategies to resolve that have been, one, focus on therapy innovation. We've led a variety of approaches to innovation, which have had limited success so far. We've tried to globalize the firm and we've placed a great value on the economic value of our products to our customers. So here's an actual illustration of how the company has been developing so far. And as we mentioned, both the industry in orange and Medtronic in red have been stagnating from the past, where we had double-digit growth, and that was the norm. Currently, where everybody's stagnating, but Medtronic in particular is underperforming. In 2011, we had the crisis that we talked about, and we've been recovering from it. But going forward, we have to make an effort to catch up with the industry and surpass it.
There have been several fundamental shifts in the medical devices industry that pose new challenges for Medtronic. The four biggest ones that we have identified are the consolidation of hospitals and providers, as has been mentioned. Second, declining reimbursement rates. Third, greater government intervention than ever before, particularly in our core US market. And last, changing patient priorities in terms of patient desirability for more holistic approaches and less invasive approaches.
So given the current situations, we came up with various strategic options to attack our position. Since the start of Medtronic, we focused on acquisitions and joint ventures. Very successful path. We grew from a small company to a large and diversified world leader. We have reached a plateau with this path, where we are not gaining any breakthrough technology or growth. Also, we are competing for the same startups and companies to acquire that are competitors, and we end up paying huge prices, which is why we decided to discard this option.
We also considered focusing on our cardiovascular unit, which is our biggest one right now. The thing with that, though, is that that has been our largest unit for years, and it's currently stagnating for a reason. We've developed it as far as we can, with it, at least as far as strategy can go. So if we try to focus on cardiovascular, we find that we will only be able to achieve minimal gains. We also talked about focusing on competitive pricing, but then when you think about what our current industry is and what the products we sell are, it is very difficult to try to lower costs in order to improve our pricing without compromising our quality, which is key when you are a large, accountable medtech company like Medtronic. Any small failure in our products can have devastating consequences for both our customers and our company image.
The last two strategic options that we considered but ultimately discarded were to create an app for cataloging and ordering products. This would have been beneficial for physicians to look at all of our available products and to meet any quotas that they needed to meet. But we decided to not go with the app because, as we've been saying, the trend in the industry has been provider consolidation, and therefore physicians do not exert the same kind of power and influence that they once did. We also thought about attacking other big med tech firms, but we realized that the industry had reached an equilibrium between us, Johnson & Johnson, and St. Jude, and several other firms of the same profile. And so attacking these other firms would not have been beneficial.
So with all of this analysis, we decided to pose a goal. We're going to reach industry growth rate of 5% by 2018 and reach 10% plus growth rate by 2025. We came up with 3 different strategies on 3 different time horizons. On the short-term strategy, we decided to strengthen developed market presence. This will increase sales revenue by 3% by 2018. On the medium-term strategy, we decided to deepen our presence in Turkey and achieve 17% growth yearly through 2019. And the long-term strategy consists of implementing an innovation operating model, which is an extension of our Vision 2010 called the Medtronic Think Tank. In US and Europe, we will achieve 8% yearly growth by 2020. We will start by focusing on these regions, and then we would extend the full program to developing economies and achieve double-digit sales growth by 2023.
In terms of our short-term strategy, in order to strengthen our developed market presence, we came up with 2 tactics that we can implement in the short term. The first is to offer bundled options to purchasing groups, and the second is to develop software that can complement our existing medical devices. The insight that led us to develop the first tactic is the following. The current trend in the industry is consolidation among purchasing organizations, which enhances their purchasing power and leads to less favorable terms for Medtronic. In addition, we know that it can cost up to 4 times as much to sell to a new customer as it does to sell to an existing one. That's why we've decided to capitalize on these insights by figuring out new ways to cross-sell and upsell our products, and offering competitive bundles is one way to do so. It will reduce the cost of our sales teams and enhance customer loyalty and drive revenue. This may mean, however, that different sales divisions within Medtronic will have to work together to offer more competitive packages to these key purchasing organizations. This might require a change in Medtronic's organizational culture because until now, sales teams have always been organized by specialty. The second tactic we thought of developing was to create some software that we could use with our existing medical devices. The insight that led us to develop this tactic was that physicians are declining as Medtronic's most important customer and no longer have the ability to affect sales as they did when Medtronic first came out with the pacemaker, for instance. The product quality and the ease of use are definitely the 2 most important factors in the success of any of our devices, but they simply are no longer the only considerations that physicians and hospitals take into account. Data aggregation, data management, and analytics are changing the medical devices field. Therefore, Medtronic should use software that allows it to manipulate the raw data that we get from our devices to monitor device performance, identify any problems that arise before notifying physicians, and generate insights about the industry. We could begin by using existing third-party analytics software with our devices. This would reduce design, testing, and implementation costs, and down the road we might develop our own proprietary software and systems that we could use for all of our medical devices. Getting into this field, which is a horizontal adjacency, will be relatively new for Medtronic. The company does have experience with monitoring product performance and using software to gather large amounts of data about its devices. But moving from that to manipulating that data to generate insights and then taking those insights a step further will require the creation of a new division in the company, likely called Health Information Technology. However, it will allow Medtronic to become more of a solutions provider instead of just a product provider.
Now let's talk about our second strategy, entering emerging markets. The key insight that led us to create this strategy was looking at what the main areas of growth are for the company. First of all, diabetes is by far the strongest growing product group among the 3 that in which Medtronic focuses. Well, it had a 9% growth rate as opposed to 2% in the other 2. Then we looked at geographic growth, and we noticed that emerging markets account for 10% of the overall industry growth for medtech, while the rest of the industry is stagnating. So we've decided to focus on diabetes in emerging markets, but which particular emerging market should we focus on? So we looked at diabetes prevalence across the world, and we noticed 3 particularly interesting countries. First, Mexico, second, Turkey, and third, Saudi Arabia. And to choose among